from Wexford, and I thought I'd give a bit of an orchid update. But this time I thought I'd talk about the ones that got away. The orchids that should have flowered this year, but for whatever reason they didn't. And these are my 5, the bad boys that sort of didn't do what they were supposed to do this year. And I'm just going to talk you through them now. On the left here, this first one here, it's a perfectly healthy orchid. It's Cattleya Mossy Eye, and it's the coerulea variety, so it should have blue flowers when it eventually decides to flower for me. But I bought this in June 2012, and it was supposedly flowering size then, and I think it is flowering size. I mean, Mossy Eye is a particularly small one of the species orchids. It's never flowered for me, and I thought it might flower this year, but there's no sign of it. If we look in closely, you can see there's, there is active root growth, and just recently new pseudobulbs have started to form. Now, I had been hopeful that the new pseudobulbs might result in sheaths and eventually flowers, but Mossy Eye produces its flowers in sheaths that come from the previous year. So even if these pseudobulbs did produce sheaths now, they're not going to be flowers. They're not going to give me flowers this year. So it's a shame, really. I suppose the issue is light, but I'm giving this plant the maximum amount of light that I can possibly give it. It's on the best south-facing windowsill, right up against the glass. I'll persevere with it a bit longer anyway and see how we go, because it's a gorgeous one. I really do want to succeed with this. Right, the second plant I want to talk about is also a Cattleya, but this is a hybrid, and this one was also bought in June 2012, the same order, same Schwerter order, and it's the King of Taiwan, Dashin #1. And this one has flowered for me a couple of times. It's a gorgeous one, great big massive pink blooms. So very girly kind of thing for a King of Taiwan, let's just say. But what happened was I repotted this one in February last year, and when I repotted it, I broke 3 of the emerging pseudobulbs. I can't believe how clumsy I was. They were just terribly soft. I mean, I don't usually do such a thing, but I broke off a whole 3 of them. So this one hasn't flowered for me this year. Now, it did throw up a flower spike just directly from the top of the pseudobulb without a sheath at all, but that just withered away. It wasn't a good sign. And I thought I might get something from, let me see, I thought I saw a sheath emerging at one stage. Can't seem to find it now, but it hasn't resulted in anything. Now, the plant, I guess, has finished. I mean, the window of opportunity for it to flower has passed, and it's now busy producing a lot of new pseudobulbs. So it's kind of in the next stage, let's say. But I did notice that it seems to have some kind of fungus in here. See those white things? Now, I thought first that they were, polystyrene or something like that. But I think now it is a fungus, so I think I really need to repot this and clean it out and make sure that it's it doesn't have any fungus on it. The only issue is that it is like impossible to get orchid bark in Ireland. I buy reptile bark and use that, and this is not ideal. This is the small grade reptile bark, but you really need the large grade one for Cattleyas. So well, there's an orchid show in Dublin, our annual orchid show next weekend, so maybe I'll manage to get some then. Right, so that's the King of Taiwan. The third orchid I wanted to talk about is also a hybrid Cattleya, And this one is called Sierra Skies Leone. So Leone is the cultivar, and I think it's now a Cattlianthe as opposed to an LC. Now, when I bought this in June 2012 with the other two in that large order, I was told that it wasn't flowering size. The only problem is I forgot to take note of how many years it was supposed to be off of flowering. So I don't know anymore, but it hasn't flowered for me. It's never flowered for me. And I thought perhaps this year might be the year because, you know, it's a healthy looking plant. Now, it hasn't really kind of woken up after the winter. I can't see any new growth yet, but it seems healthy. So I don't know, maybe next year, or maybe it'll throw up a new pseudobulb that'll produce a sheath at this stage. I don't know. And the last two plants I want to talk about, the last two orchids that got away on me, are so infuriating. Right, this little baby here is a dendrobium, and it's Dendrobium Jen Jenkins jenkinsii. Jenkinsii, I suppose. That double I is generally pronounced as a I sound, like jenkinsii, although that's not the way I was taught in Latin school. And I had hoped this one would flower for me this year, but I really don't have a lot of luck with dendrobiums in general. Now, I bought this in, let's see, October 2013, supposedly flowering size, and it's a miniature, so it could be flowering size, although there are actually two plants in there. I noticed when I was repotting. That little thing there is a separate plant. And I tried keeping this cool and you know, giving it a rest in winter, and just, you know, it's not giving me any joy at all. No yellow flowers. I don't think that's going to flower at all. I think I just don't water the dendrobiums enough. I think that's got to be the problem. I mean, it's had lots of light, so I don't know what the story is. And the last one that got away is also a dendrobium, and this is Dendrobium loddigesii, and it's supposed to have lovely pink flowers. And I've just looked at Orchid Dreaming's video where she shows her lovely plant, but this one has never flowered for me, and again, it's why I hate dendrobiums. They just don't like me. Now, I've had this one a really long time. I've had it since February 2011, and the only reason I still have it is because it's small and it doesn't take up much space, so I haven't felt the need to get rid of it. But it was originally a keiki that was given to me by a friend, and I think I've just had it so long, I've kind of tried everything now at this stage. I did try freezing it to bits in the greenhouse. Well, I don't mean freezing it, I did get it down to 5 degrees in winter, which was too low. And I've tried like keeping it at a minimum of 10 degrees, and I've tried completely stopping watering in winter, and I've tried like reducing the water, and it just doesn't respond to anything. And I'd hoped this year I'd finally get flowers, but I see that it's producing new growths there. These are the new growths, which would indicate that the window of opportunity for it to flower has passed. And yet again this year, I will have no flowers. So I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed in you. You better buck up or you're going on the compost. And the same for you. But the Cattleyas, well, I don't speak so harshly to them. Anyway, thanks for listening to my nonsense, and don't forget to subscribe, and that's all for the moment. Bye now.